Now, when I examine the Skywalker saga, one aspect of those films that I gotta say that I really enjoy are not just the quests and the adventures that the main characters go on, but it's also about the action-packed sequences that take place in space and on land. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. And that's one thing I gotta say that I'm really looking forward to seeing in this movie by JJ, is exactly how he's going to use the action sequences in this movie, whether it be the land battles or the space battles in Episode 9. Now, we do know that there's going to be a lot of action scenes in this film that are going to be compared to that of Revenge of the Sith. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which has all to do with one of the major action sequences in the third act of the film. Specifically, a description of Richard E. Grant's character yelling and commanding officers to fire on the sledgehammers, which is of course the large ship that Leia is on board of. It's described that the ship is shielded and protected as it makes its way to the First Order fleet. The sledgehammer is said to have a couple hundred starfighters on board to attack the First Order's weapons. The next goes over Richard E. Grant's character in shock, witnessing the sledgehammer ramming through a Star Destroyer. It said a couple of new TIE designs come in on the sledgehammer's position and are able to disable the shield somehow, putting the Resistance in a position to release all of their starfighters to attack. It said that this is how Rey comes across an orange E-Wing-like fighter and hops in it while Poe and Finn board a new B-Wing design. It said that Finn, Poe, and Rey communicate during the space battle as they head toward the superweapons before they begin to attack. So I want to go over a couple of parts about this. Now, this sounds like a very interesting moment. Now, this is basically the calm before the storm. Now, we've been going over the storm when it comes to the space battle sequence in Episode 9, for these past months, give or take. Now, we do know that this movie is going to have two big space battles, one of which being in the second act, and the other of which being the finale in the third act of this movie that will feature these new types of super weapons by the First Order, which, by the way, I believe are going to be Disney's version of the World Devastators. So, like I say, this is basically the setup to the space battle sequence in Episode 9. Sounds very interesting, I gotta say. It involves Richard E. Grant's character. He's basically a tyrannical First Order officer in this film. So, he's more around the lines of a Tarkin/Thrawn figure in Episode 9, and I honestly cannot wait to see what he has in store for this movie. So, with that being said, this large ship that Leia is commanding is dubbed as the Sledgehammer. Now, in case you guys have no idea what the Sledgehammer is, this was an original scene that never made it to the final cut of Episode 7, which, to my belief, that this is going to be unused footage, or at least partially unused footage, from The Force Awakens and inserted into Episode 9. So this whole entire sequence surrounding both Rey, Finn, and Poe Dameron, this is a sequence in which they are actually on board of the Sledgehammer and are retreating. They're escaping this ship because they have to do whatever they have to do in order to go up against the First Order because the shields are down on the Sledgehammer itself. Now, Richard E. Grant's character, whoever he's going to be called in this film, eventually witnesses, the power of this ship by the Resistance. It crashes and splits a Star Destroyer into two pieces. Guys, I gotta say, I cannot wait to see what this is going to look like on the big screen and in IMAX, where you have a Resistance cruiser that has a lot of armor on the front of it. Think of like a hammerhead of some sorts, where it just tears through a Star Destroyer as if it was nothing and splits it into two pieces. It kind of reminds me of the visual effects. I'm only imagining what it's going to look like right now, but it somewhat reminds me of what they did in Rogue One, where the two destroyers collide into each other. That's how I'm imagining the sequence to be right now. So the other of which actually includes a couple of new TIE designs actually going in on the position of the Sledgehammer and disabling the shields. Now, this is most likely the TIE Echelons. I believe that's how you pronounce it. Correct me if I'm wrong. But these new TIEs are actually going to be seen also at Galaxy's Edge and will also be used in Star Wars Episode 9. They almost look like a TIE bomber mixed with a TIE striker. Very interesting design, guys, I gotta say. But this whole entire sequence involving both Rey, Poe, and Finn retreating the Sledgehammer and boarding their ships One of which is, of course, Rey boarding an E-Wing-like orange starfighter, where both Rey and Poe, or should I say both Poe and Finn, are boarding this new type of B-Wing design, where they both go inside of that ship, and as they leave, they are communicating with each other as they go into the space battle between the First Order and the Resistance. So this sounds like a very great setup to the major space battle in Episode 9. Guys, I gotta say, one favorite thing about the Star Wars franchise in the movies that I do like is, of course, the build-up, right? The build-up to these space battles. And what I mean by this is that, think about A New Hope, right? When Luke travels to Yavin 4 and goes inside of that base, he talks with Han Solo, they're boarding the X-Wings and whatnot. I love the build-up to the space battles in each and every Star Wars movie. It's just something so special and something so adrenaline pumping about it. I don't know why, but it is. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think about all of this below in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.